Hello.
Good afternoon, good evening, depending on what side of the pond you're on. I'm coming here from the United States of America, and we have the Mega Geek coming across the pond from Great Britain. Welcome, the Mega Geek.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, yes. Well, the Mega Geek is a filmmaker and has a lot to say about the British state of the British film industry, and he is also a filmmaker himself. So, Mega Geek, aka Ian, this is name, real name. What can you tell us about yourself? What's your background in the film?
Okay, so I am a filmmaker. I'm a producer, director, writer, editor. And the reason why I'm that is because basically, I haven't really been employed by the British film industry, put it that way, for various reasons. It's difficult to quantify. One of the reasons why I'm not being hired by the industry, basically. But that's what I do. That's what I do. I know. I started off as a graphics artist for a post production company, and then I kind of try and work my way into production, but they weren't opening the door for me. And then one day I decided to stop being a graphics artist and direct, and I had a couple of jobs, and then suddenly I was unemployed for 5 years. And and I made my first feature film and won awards, and I've been in the independent sector ever since, because if you don't know enough people in the industry, then you're not really going anywhere. And this is the situation that I've always been in. But it hasn't stopped me from making films and writing scripts and helping people and stuff.
Okay, so wait, so you said that you've done, you did a feature film, and that's which feature film was that?
I've done 4 feature films, I think 5 feature films in my over 20 years experience in the independent sector. The first film I directed was a film called The Killing Zone, which I think, as I said in a podcast once, I think we were the first people to do crowdfunding. I think we were.
Oh,
So basically, it was a long time ago. It was, I think it was 1994, when there was no internet, there was no Facebook, there was no Twitter, and I was unemployed, as I said, and I was with my friend Julian. We wanted to make a feature film. I wrote a feature film. I'd made shorts before, so the idea was I made a short for £1,000, and that was 20 minutes long. So I was thinking to myself, well, I can just make 4 shorts, cost me £4,000, stick them all together, and that'll be a feature film, right? 90 minutes or less than or more than. But the idea was solid, but obviously it doesn't work in reality, because making a feature film is a different animal to making a short. So we decided that we wanted to make a feature, but we didn't have any money. So, and we wanted to advertise, but we didn't have any money. So advertising a newspaper cost a crap load of money, and we didn't have it. So what we decided to do was that, I can't remember who came up with this, whether it was Julian or me, but there was a newspaper called Loot in England, and what it was for people who wanted to share flat, or was looking for things, or trying to sell their old junk, and the ads that you put in Loot was free. So we put an advert in Loot saying, if you have no experience making a feature film or want to be part of a feature film, call this number. And so in one weekend, we were inundated by people ringing us. And so this is how we sold it. We said, look, you can either take £1,000 and go and learn, do a course with the BBC and learn nothing, or you can give us £1,000 and we'll chuck you in the deep end and you'll learn that way. And 14 people said yes, gave us 1,000 each, and we made our film on £14,000 shot on Super 16 in 2 weeks. And that was my first film. Yeah, it was a nightmare. It really was. It was the hardest thing I ever done in my entire life. Having 2 hours sleep every night, and shooting like our ass was on fire. We did a lot of rehearsals. You see, the thing is, when you do something like that, you've got to be clever. You've got to do your preparatory work. You've got to know what you're doing. You can't just do something like that and hope for the best, because in those days you're shooting on film. It's not like you're shooting on digital. So every time you shoot on film, that's one film, shot. So we did a lot of rehearsals. That's the key. Do lots of rehearsals. So when you do rehearsals, you're talking to the actors. We're talking about the characters. We're we're figuring out where we stand, figuring out what the characters are like, or how should say the lines. And once that's all sorted out, you when you get on set, it's merely a formality, because when you're on set, time is the enemy. Time is the thing that will stop you from making your film. So you have to try and make that time very minimum. So that's the reason why we did loads of rehearsals, so that when we get on set, everybody knows what they're doing. We shoot, we move on, we shoot, we move on. And so that's what we did. But it still wasn't perfect, because there's a lot of politics played on that. Nobody was getting paid. Everybody was doing it for free. It was very, very difficult. Do you know what I mean? Lots of things went wrong. So, but we achieved it, and we won an award for it. And that film made us go forward into a next film.
Wow. So what award did you win?
We won Best Feature, LA, New York Film Festival. It was our film came out almost the same time as Blair Witch and Clerks, kind of round about that area where independent films were really big. Unfortunately for us, we were really, really skint. Okay, we had no money. So when we got invited to this festival, which me and Julian should go to, we couldn't afford it. We couldn't afford to get on the plane. Halfway, when I was making the film Killing Zone, halfway through the film, I had to go and sign on and pick up the government's tip one of the days when I was shooting, because I really didn't have any money, so I had to stop production, jump in a car, drive to the place where I have to sign on to get my check, and then come back and carry on shooting. So that's it was something that we were passionate about. I mean, we were really up against it, with just £14 shooting in 2 weeks, and but we were clever about it, because the Killing Zone has 3 stories in it. So when you did the first story, you can have 3 separate sound guys, because then they won't have 2 weeks out their schedule without getting paid. So for the first story, it was only 2 days. So the sound guy would come in and do 2 days, and then he'd go away and have another sound man for the next story, and then the next story. So people weren't trapped in the 2-week shoot. The actors weren't trapped in a 2-week shoot. They literally did 2 days and maybe some pickups. But there was a main star that went through all the 3 stories. So it was so we contained it. We tried to contain the problems that was involved in shooting a feature film with very little money. So we didn't go in there with no clue. We went in there with, I knew what I was doing. My DOP knew what he was doing. My cameraman knew what he was doing. So yeah, that's how I got started.
That's great. Yeah, Juan of the Hand of the Valinar, he says, if you have not seen this, it's worth a watch. I've watched it. Oh, so he's seen this movie.
The Killing Zone? You've seen The Killing Zone? So you must be the one then. It was, people like The Killing Zone. I mean, it's basically about an assassin who has 3 jobs to do before he retires, and then in the last story he finds out his girlfriend's having an affair with his best friend, and then the shit hits the fan. That's basically what it's about. So yeah, I mean, I can't believe somebody on this has seen it. So thank you very much, sir. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking it up here, but of course a lot of things are coming up for the Killing Zone. So so that's how you got started in it. I wanted to circle back a little bit. You mentioned about the difficulties of moving forward in the British film industry, the main part. When we spoke previously, you had told me a little bit about the role that class system plays in it, something that we as Americans maybe not be aware of, about a lot of the actors that we do see, that the class system, how that's played a role.
Well, okay, right. So in England, you have a class system. You have a working class, that's blue collar, I think you guys call it, middle class and upper class. And it's, as I was saying to you before, it's no mistake that most of our actors speak in a sort of Hugh Grant sort of way, because they've all been to Oxford, they've all been to, the high schools that's well regarded. So most of the people in the British film industry are upper class people, and the working class people don't really stand a chance. And this is the thing that's never been discussed every time they talk about British film industry, they say how wonderful it is, and how we've got talent and stuff like that. But I'm just saying, you're just scratching the surface, because you're not allowing the working class people to be involved, or the middle class people to be involved in the industry. As I said, look at Cumberbatch, the guy who plays Sherlock and is Doctor Strange. He's no working class person. You just listen to the way he speaks. I mean, no disrespect to him, he's a great actor, right? No disrespect to any of them, but this is the way it's always been for as far as I know. The reason why I couldn't get in the film industry is because in the old days, we're talking about 40 years ago, is because I was the wrong color. I couldn't even get a job at the BBC because I was the wrong color. But now I find I'm not the right color now, and I'm not the right sex. So now I can't even I couldn't get a job then, and now I can't get a job now. So this is what's happening now. But yeah, the film industry, the British film industry, is full of people with money. If you're working class and you're making independent film, you can't afford to go to the festivals and swan around and make contacts and stuff like that, because you need money, right? And we didn't have the money. No working class person has the money. You can save up, but to make contacts, it takes like 7 to 8 years, constantly going to Cannes, constantly going to Sundance and Rain Dance and stuff like that. And this is why people like me can't make it, because we've never had money. So I hope I kind of gave people an idea of how it works over here.
Yeah, well, I think it's what really fascinates me is just things that I just wouldn't know, is what you said about the Hugh Grant voice, or that all of them, the ones that we all know as these big stars, the fact that they all go to all those posh universities and that they have money behind them. It it just never occurred to me, but now that you said it, I can't unsee it. I can't unhear it. It's like, oh, of course, this person. Oh, and you mentioned a little bit about Daisy Ridley when there was a bit of that blow up.
Yeah,
about her.
Yeah, well, Daisy Ridley has nothing to be ashamed of. This is what I was saying to a lot of people. I was reading about her, and obviously she backtracked because she said, "Oh, me and I can't remember the black guy's name. What's his name again? The guy in Finn who plays Finn.
John Boyega.
John Boyega. We suffer from the same thing, but we were struggling. But in reality, Daisy wasn't really struggling because her parents was part of. I think her parents are actors or part of the film industry. So she's like, I think she's middle class or upper class. So she didn't struggle as much as John, because John lived in a council estate and I live in a council estate, and and he fought his way up, and God bless him, he's done a really good job, and he's a really good actor as well, and she's a good actress as well. But what I was saying is, she shouldn't be ashamed, because if I made it into the industry and I had kids and I had money, I'm going to help my children. Do you know what I mean? There's no question, so she should say, look, it's true, I've had it easy, but now I'm in a position to help people. That's what her response should be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, instead of trying to make her ashamed of.
Yeah, instead of trying to defend because it's not, she's born into it. It's not her fault, and that's the thing. So that should be her response, really. Look, I'm privileged. Yes, I'm very, very privileged, but I can use my privilege to help people that are not privileged, and let's see what we can do. You know what I mean? And that's what she should be really saying. But obviously she didn't take that tact, and then the media had a go at her.
It's like you can't win. Because on the one hand, what you have said, it's been very difficult for you to make your way into it. But what I don't hear in your voice and what you say about Daisy Ridley, what I'm hearing is you don't resent them for that. You're not going to call for them to be deplatformed or not getting jobs.
No, I'm not. I'm just Well, I think it may be too late for me. I mean, I don't know how many movies I'm going to be making because I'm of an age. So, but it'd be nice if the BBC, throughout all its diversity, went out their way to help people like me. I mean, I think BBC's very ageist, put it that way. And a lot of Hollywood's very ageist as well.
Mhm.
If you reach a certain age, especially when it comes to actresses, you
Yeah.
reach a certain age, they throw them away, like rubbish. They're like, you know what, you're not worth anything anymore. And they throw them away, which is ridiculous, because if there's a choice between hiring me and hiring someone that's in their 20s, who do you think is going to be more loyal? The 20-year-old or me, in my 50s? Who do you reckon
Mhm.
is going to stick with it? It's going to be me. And I've got experience over someone of in their 20s. So it's a no-brainer. But people think differently. They think the other way, don't they? They think,
Yeah.
let's hire this young buck because he's young, and that's really doesn't make any sense to me. I went up for a job once and I lost it to a 22-year-old that had more likes and more followers on Twitter.
Mhm.
That's, to me, that's crazy, because I have experience and that guy didn't. Yet he got it because he's known on Twitter. So
Yeah,
work
it
that one
seems to
out.
me they think in very short uh, terms, and even those young ones, we see it happen all the time. They get them, they use them, and then they can throw them away too if they don't give a very fast uh, return on the investment.
Yeah.
You know.
And also, England does not have an industry, no matter what anyone says, right? No matter, I mean, a lot of people disagree with me. I remember I was having a talk to one of my old bosses about this. Every time you see the BAFTAs or Oscars, they say, oh, the British film this year is great and stuff. We do not have an industry. What we are is a facilities company for different countries. Let's take America, for instance. America will come over here and make their Star Wars movies or their James Bond, because we don't own James Bond movies, and they'll use our facilities. They use our studios, they use our editing systems, they use our crew, they sometimes use our actors and stuff like that. And then when money comes in for that particular film, it goes in and it goes back to America. So America can build their industry or build their production company. We are just the facilities company for the rest of the world. We're not building anything here. We have studios, but the majority of the studios that have been used by the Americans, by India, other people with more money. But we don't have a star system, like America has a star system, Michelle Pfeiffer, Harrison Ford. They've got all stars that can sell movies. But when we have stars that make it, they go over to America. So they don't stay here. So that's why I say we don't have a film industry. All we are is a post-production company, a huge post-production company.
Mhm.
That's what I say. But anyway, that's just me, right?
Okay, so yeah, well, I've noticed that a lot of our stars are British people, and then they have them use American accents.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, John Boyega's one, Hugh Laurie from House,
Mm,
uh, and at some of them, I didn't know. For example, John Boyega, until I saw him do the interviews for Star Wars, and he's sitting there with a
yeah.
British accent. The stars from Walking Dead, a lot of them are British.
Mm,
With So if you are a British actor, you have to come over here to America, to LA,
yeah.
to
Same thing
make
with Canadians as well. I mean, you got Dan Aykroyd. He's Canadian. He's famous.
Mhm.
Very, Canadian. Jim Carrey's Canadian. It seems like, because Canada mirrors mirrors England's film industry. Both countries are well capable of making things like John Wick and something science fiction or something fun. But both countries choose to make uh, 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 films that make a point, or it's about the social divide, or it's about something that's serious, or it's a costume drama. Or do you understand what I'm saying? We
Mhm.
don't make films that people really want to go and see. We make film, and I understand why they do that as well, because if you make a film that has a couple of stars in it, you can sell it to the production companies around the world. It doesn't have to make money in the cinemas. It doesn't have to be a big hit. As long as you've got that contact and you can sell your film around the world and it ends up on Netflix and stuff, like, because you've got the contacts, it's fine. So you can make a film for, say, 5 million, 6 million. That's really low budget according to America, but in England that's quite a good budget. And if it'd probably make less than 1 million in the cinema, a small release, and then they hand it over when they go to MIPCOM and stuff like that. They, do you want to buy this film? It's got Daisy Ridley in it, and they they buy it for TV and stuff like that. So that's and if they make almost their money back, it's considered a success. But it's not doing us any favors. It's not building our industry. It's not, helping our struggling actors, not helping our struggling filmmakers. All it's doing is servicing other countries, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize when they talk about the British film industry. On the outside, it looks like we're doing really well, but on the inside, we're not doing very well at all.
And then for people like you, who the independent is really the only way to go for you. Well, you have what you just talked about with the whole industry, and then you talk about the barriers that you've had in your career. And now, are you let me rephrase this. Are you a part of a movement? I mean, is there lots of people like you that are making these independent movies?
Everybody's scared. Everybody's scared to say what's on their mind, but I'm too old and too stupid now, so I will literally say it now. It's if I'm not in the industry now, I probably never will be, but it's not going to stop me from making stuff. Do you know what I mean? If I'm lucky, somebody will see that I've got talent, because I have got talent. Gone are the days when I'm modest about what I can do. All you have to do is see my stuff and realize, what I can do. And that's that, really. But yeah, I mean, not a lot of people talk about it, you see, and a lot of people deny that this is happening, but it is happening.
No. And you also mentioned another aspect of the woke in in the film industry, to the point that you even told me that you can't get a BAFTA nowadays unless you have a certain quota.
Yeah, they have a rule in BAFTA where I don't know what the quotas are. It's something like 25% of the crew and the cast have to be of a certain color, and sexual orientation and stuff like. They got all these rules now, but the egg's on their face this year because they didn't. The films that were nominated, the British films that were nominated, so-called British films that were nominated for the BAFTAs this year, didn't have any of that stuff. So they literally had to pick films that didn't abide by the rules. So 1917 won a lot of awards, didn't it, this year in the BAFTAs? And that didn't. I think it had one brown face in it, I think, in one scene. And that was that, really, So, but the thing is, though, and quite rightly so, because I think they were saying there was only an Indian people there for a certain degree, but the majority of people were white in that war. So so yeah, especially in that in that particular thing that they were doing. So and quite right. So I mean, where I've got a problem is when they start shoehorning people in, not because they're talented, not because they deserve the part, because of the diversity. And diversity is very close to inclusivity. Do you know what I mean? So so yeah, I mean, maybe next year they'll reinforce the law even more. I mean, Ofcom for TV is demanding all these things now. That's why Doctor Who is so bad, and that's why a lot of things are being dictated by this woke diversity thing that's happening on our TV. America's big on it now. England's really big on it. So anywhere I turn, really, I've been shown a door and it's always closed. So
well, yeah. I mean, well, it's like you said, darned if you do, darned if you don't. That since you're older, you were there at the time when there was more institutional racism that was against you, and now there's this wokeness that you don't fit the quota, which is it's absurd, because I'm thinking, well, and you're not the only one in a lot of industries. I won't say what my profession is, but it is usually preferred to hire kids right out of college, with no experience, because you don't have to pay them as much. But if you're someone, say, with 20 years experience in the industry, then you have all this experience, and at the end of the day, you save money because you don't have to spend it all on training, and this person's going to be successful. They're going to stick with it, but they're just so short-sighted. They just look at the quick fix.
Yeah, as I said, with the film, with the British film industry, it mirrors the Canadian industry.
Hmm.
I don't understand the logic behind the BFI. The BFI, I went to a discussion once. It was like a panel on stage, and they all, they obviously they're people from the BFI, and someone stood up and said, "Why don't you make films, commercial films? Why do you keep making films that only 15% of the audience want to see?" And their response was, "Look, if we don't support people like Mike Lee and stuff, who else is going to support them?" And I just thought to myself, what a crap excuse. What are you talking about? You know, we need to build something here. We don't need to, you get the feeling there's lots of politics behind this. I mean,
Yeah,
let's face it, if BFI gives like 20 million to Mike Lee to make his film that only 25% of the audience can be, you can bet your bottom dollar that the producers that are producing it's getting a hefty wage out of that budget. And they also, the reason why a film costs 20 million, a British independent film or a BFI film costs 20 million, is because they basically hire all the people that are part of the union, so they have to pay those rates. Do you know what I mean? And they all get the stuff, the per diems and everything. So they kind of, that's what they do. But if I was in charge of the BFI, I'd never make a film beyond 5 million. Never. I would say, right, let's just split up um, this budget that we've got. Let's make films for less than 5 million or just 5 million, and let's hire people who will give us loyalty, and forget about the union, because the union has no power in this country. Let's just hire people and let's just make loads of films. Make
yeah,
some commercial films, make some artistic films, but at least let's not make one type of movie. Let's make different kinds of movies, and I think we'll stand a better chance, especially if we're not spending 20 million on a film and getting 2 million back. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense that you'd spend that amount of money and it's only for a niche audience, you
yeah.
know?
Exactly. Well, and I think what you just said ties in with some of these comments here. And by the way,
Mm.
welcome everyone. Great to see you. Poet Scotty says, "I'm too smart and not woke to be a diversity hire." That's the other thing too. Yeah, you can be a minority, but if you're not woke, you
Yeah.
also. So there's a double layer of that, and then how this wokeness then,
Mm.
uh, like you said, it like with Doctor Who and everything, you're not getting successful things, and as you said, you're not making money off of it, so what the heck are you doing? And Juan says, did you see Harrison Ford promoting his new film in England? He said, "We're not trying to lecture anyone," throwing shade at Lucasfilm. So it seems
Yeah.
like Harrison Ford gets it. It's like,
Well, the thing is, everyone gets it, right? But people are scared to talk out. Harrison Ford knows that where his bread is well buttered. My dad always used to say that his bread's well buttered, meaning that he has money. He knows that he can't say these things because other companies won't hire him.
mhm,
You come out and talk against wokeness and diversity, people are just not going to hire you again. That's why the actors won't speak out. I mean, it's so funny because in the Marvel universe, Helmsman, what's his name? The guy who plays Thor. You can see he so wants to speak out about it. You can see it, especially when he's with Brie. They interviewed
yeah,
him and Brie.
yeah. It kind of, I think Brie, it brought out something. Brie Larson,
Yeah,
it's like it brought out the everything in everybody, the body language. You could see him almost
yeah,
biting his tongue, and then they would blurt out something, and then go, "Oh no," and then bring it back.
yeah. I think the cleverest people in the Marvel universe is him. Who's the guy that plays Falcon? Because he's very verbal,
Oh,
but
love him.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's verbal, but he's not that verbal. He
Mhm.
knows what not to say.
Mhm.
But what he says is he's a very clever man. He is. Chris Evans is right behind the woke stuff, which is really disappoints me because I think he's a really good actor and I really
Mhm.
like him. And Robbie Downey Jr. is just, he's Switzerland's Robbie Downey Jr. He won't
Yeah.
say anything. So you
Well, he's
know,
got enough charisma that he doesn't have to. Someone that was an insider in the American industry
mm,
kind of indicated they're not exactly. maybe behind this, but they have to give the facade that they are.
Yeah.
Kind of what we suspected is that we don't know if they're actually sincere because some say this on social media, but heck, I don't really believe that. But that's what's
Mm.
expected to be.
Yeah. As I said, it's just really annoying that film and TV has gone this way.
Mhm.
I remember somebody told me off. There goes, "Oh yeah, you made Rebecca Gold," and I remember somebody on Twitter messaged me saying, "Is because Katie plays Rebecca in my short," and they said, "Oh, is she gay?" And I messaged back saying, "No, she's not gay," And then she messaged back saying, "How dare you hire a straight person to play a gay person? That's just setting everything back and stuff like that." And I'm like, "Oh my God, how can someone be so angry over something like this?" And then I wasn't going to answer her back, but I did in the end. And what I said was, "Do you remember that film? Do you remember that film Philadelphia? Well,
Yes.
who played a gay guy in that?" And I said, if it wasn't for Tom Hanks in that film, that the whole AIDS epidemic wouldn't have been highlighted as such. And that film really highlighted it to Hollywood. And I said,
Yes.
it does, you don't have to be gay to play a gay person, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
But this is where we are at the moment in time, isn't it? So
Yeah. Well, sure. They even did that to Elton John, who is obviously himself
mm,
gay, and his pick to play him in Rocket Man happened
yeah,
to be a straight actor, but he was best for the part, and they tried to give him a hard time, but he's
yeah,
not having any of it. He's not from that era of butt kissing and stuff. He is who he is.
yeah.
So I love the way he responded to it, saying basically, F off.
Yeah, I mean, I hear Scarlett Johansson had to walk away from the project because she wasn't gay. I think there was this project that she was doing, and
Oh,
then
she wasn't trans, yes.
yeah, and then she walked away from it because she was just getting too much backlash on it. There are things that there are lines that shouldn't be crossed. Like I don't understand how this woke thing works. So it's all right to have Ariel from the Walt Disney film. Can't remember what it was called now. A Little Mermaid to be black, but yet you can't go the other way, if you know what I mean. You can't have a black person and then cast a white person. There'll be huge outcry. And it's the same thing with women characters as well. It's all right to have a woman character to play a well-known character, but it's not all right to do it the other way around. So I really don't understand the logic behind all of this at all. I really don't.
I think it's because there is no logic.
Yeah,
And
and what?
the rules keep shifting. Because
Yeah,
5 years ago, that film that Rub and Tug, that's what it was, that you Scarlett Johansson was going to be, it would have been huge, and
mm,
she would have made it huge, and no one would have said anything. But the way things have changed, they they shut it down because when Scarlett Johansson withdrew from the project, she was their big star, the big draw, and so the whole film got canceled.
yeah.
Something's changed in the last 5 years where it would have been celebrated, like, oh my gosh, a trans film with this major star.
Mm. I mean, in one podcast, I was asked, how does Rebecca Gold, improve, the LBGQ community? And I laughed because I said, when I when I wrote Rebecca Gold, halfway through writing it, she suddenly was gay. I didn't plan her to be gay, but it made sense to the story. It added to her going mental at one point in the story. And I said, look, um, I'm not going to make the mistake the other shows make and just batter your head and just keep saying she's gay all the time, because what I want to try and do is create a gay heroine, or heroes you call them these days. You're not allowed to say heroine for some reason. A hero that she was gay, and it's just by the by. Do you know what I mean? Isn't it better to do it that way? That you don't focus on that, but
Yeah,
don't you think? And a lot of people don't understand that. You look at Batwoman, for God's sakes, every week they're highlighting that she's gay. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And then you're bashing men in the show, which doesn't make any sense to me, because if there's another thing I don't understand, Ryan. A lot of people may have a go at me. I don't understand why women can't be sexy on screen or TV anymore. I mean, Batwoman, the way she's drawn in the comics before all this stuff started, you know, sure, she's gorgeous, you know, and to take that away from a super heroine or hero, now you can't say heroine,
Mhm.
to take that away, you're taking away the male audience. And it doesn't mean to say they're sexist or anything like that. It just means to say that they're comic book fans that like their comic books the way it is, you know. Look at, what is it, the Harley Quinn movie that came out. All those women in there. I mean, you know, what?
Yeah.
Don't even look like their comic book characters at all, you know, especially Huntress. So you're just
Yeah.
sitting there going, well, I don't know, I don't understand logic behind this.
Yeah, it's like there's a a war on things that are beautiful and good.
Mm,
Uh, there are still some things where beauty does come through, and those are the ones that are successful.
yeah,
But unfortunately, it seems like that you will only find some of that in so-called chick flicks.
yeah.
Um, Even in Marvel, we going back to Scarlett Johansson. Look how beautiful she was and always was.
Mm.
And can you imagine if they had made Black Widow ugly? I just can't imagine that.
No, it's not that. I mean, like for instance, take Charlie's Angels, right? So in the 70s we had Charlie's Angels, and the reason why that show was made was because it was for eye candy for men
Yeah.
watching TV. It was a moderate success. It wasn't a huge success,
Mm.
Charlie's Angels. I think it went for 4 seasons or whatever, 6 seasons,
Yeah.
I can't remember. Um, and it was a moderate success, and it's in pop culture now, Charlie. And then when they decided to make the movie, I think it was the 80s, or was it the
Mhm.
90s? I can't remember. They knew what Charlie's Angels was all about, so they basically ramped it up to the ridiculous level and made it
Yeah.
a comedy, you know. And they were all sexy, you know. Cameron Diaz, you know, all these three, you know, sexy girls that wore sexy dresses and, you know, kicked ass and stuff like that. And then to go from there to for this new Charlie's Angels, where none of them are sexy at all, in my opinion, none of them. You know,
Yeah.
one's dressed like a little boy. You know, how do you figure that's going to work with the male audience and with the audience in general? How is that making women in front, making them look good or powerful? Why would you take away their sexiness from Charlie's Angels, which is why Charlie's Angels was created in the first place? Could you not have that as well as being powerful women, as well as pushing the agenda a bit? Do you know what I mean? But not a lot. You know, can't you not have strong men in there that they don't get slapped around, or they are a real threat to the Angels? You know what I mean? You know, and maybe some people males that are helping them. Why couldn't we have that? That would have made more sense, and that would have been more attractive to the general audience. In, you know,
In
but
general, yeah. Well, and some I'll tell you something as a little girl watching Charlie's Angels, I liked seeing the pretty girls. I was playing with my dolls and things, and
mm,
I remember wanting to have Fairy Fawcett hair. Wanted to dress
yeah,
up like her. It's so women, straight women, yeah, like me, we like to see pretty women too, because it's beautiful. It's nice to see things that are beautiful.
mm,
Um, Not to mention we do also like our beautiful men as well. That's the whole. You were old enough to, like me, to be when Pride and Prejudice took
mm,
over humanity back in 1995. Oh my gosh, we were so in love with Mr. Darcy. They didn't
yeah,
make him ugly and all that. It's like, no, he's in there in a suit,
mm,
and the ladies were beautiful.
yeah. I don't understand why we can't do that anymore. I mean, you know, talking about the last thing I did, which is Rebecca Gold. I know well, I don't know for a fact, but for me, casting someone that's good looking in the main role is only the first step, because to get to a viewer fast, if you cast someone that's quite good looking, the first thing men and women are going to see is she's quite good looking, and then if the script is good, you're going to get to love her character as well. So it's a double whammy.
Yeah.
And then you care about the character, and when you care about the character, that's when you get involved in the movie. So casting's really important. If I cast someone that wasn't so good looking for Rebecca Gold, I don't think it would have worked as well as it did. You know, I still think that the main cast should be good looking people, opposed to someone that's not so good looking, because people are attracted to good looking people, and that's just law of nature, you know.
For sure. Okay, just want to address the chat here a little bit. Play
All
nice,
right.
gentlemen. Things are getting a little, yeah, you know. I think when we were talking some of the wokeness, I think you all agree with each other. Well, I'll just let you all play in the chat here, but yeah, so, some race talk, and I I'm keeping it up. I'm welcoming any kind of discussion that you all wish to have on this.
Yeah.
Just a little aside there as well.
I you
And
know,
thank you for keeping it civil. I do
mm.
appreciate that.
I mean, yeah, I don't mind if people disagree with me. It's fine. You know, I respect people's views, and this is the way it should be. You know, you should respect my views even if you disagree with it, and I respect your views, and that's the way it should be. You know, slinging mud and calling people names and stuff like that, it's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's just stupid, and you know, we've all advanced. It's only people that have nothing to say that's when they start slinging mud and calling you names.
Mhm.
But these people in the chat, they seem to be quite intelligent, so they
Oh
know
yeah.
what they're talking about. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
I know. Let me. Yeah. Just the mother in me coming out. It's like let's all. Yeah. No, I think it. I think it's a robust conversation, and it's
yeah.
fine, gentlemen. And I appreciate your points of view. I I am probably the whitest of the white women you've ever seen in your life, with Scottish and some Irish and English and
Mm.
Normandy in me. So, you know, I appreciate the perspectives and
It,
yeah.
it doesn't matter what color you are, though, does it? It doesn't matter what any. I'm not completely black. I'm mixed race. So you know, when I was trying to get a job at the BBC, because one of my dreams was to work for the BBC, and I tried so hard. I mean, even last year I applied for the directors scheme, and I didn't get in that. Do you know what I mean? So that was last year. I've been trying, like, this is like my fourth year I've tried to get into directors. It was either because of my age that they won't accept me, or it's because you know, I'm not known, whatever. But it seems now that I'm not dark enough to be part of the BBC. You know, take that as you will. But this is one of the facts now. You know, you know, if I'm not Indian, they're not going to hire me. You know, so I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I really don't know.
No, no, it's definitely well, and it is tricky. It's like that from that musical Chess I love so much from the '80s, when they say
Mhm.
everyone's playing the game, but nobody's rules are the same.
Yeah, it's true.
And
It's
they
so
should,
true.
yeah. Well, let's move in a little more deep into Rebecca Gold.
Mm.
Juan actually he clarified that it wasn't the killing zone that he had seen; it
All
was
right.
the Rebecca Gold.
Yeah.
That I'm going to bring up his comment here. So, tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about Rebecca Gold. What is it? What's it about? How'd you get into it?
Rebecca Gold is about just a synopsis, quick synopsis is about an assassin, a geeky assassin, who one day she's doing a job and she accidentally, well, not accidentally, she bumps into a high school crush. And because the rules state that there should be no witnesses, um, you know, she decides to go against the rule and protect her friend. And that's basically the story of Rebecca Gold. But there's more to it than that. You know, she finds out that she was part of her past, because Rebecca gets her mind wiped every time she's doing a job, so she doesn't remember her past, and then all hell breaks loose. So that's basically what it's about. And how Rebecca Gold came into being was that went to dinner with Katie, who plays Rebecca Gold, one day, and she was moaning because all she was getting was adverts and you know, short films and stuff like that. And I just said to her, well, let me write something for. I'll write something for you. I'll write something for me, and then you know, we can shoot it. And 7 years later, we ended up shooting Rebecca Gold.
Wow.
So
So she
yeah.
was a colleague. I was going to ask a little bit about the
Mm.
cast. So she was a friend of yours, and so and isn't that innovative well, then we'll make it ourselves.
Yeah.
So you said 7 years, 7 year process. Could you walk us through the whole process from Genesis
It's
to the end?
well, it took 7 years because I'm constantly working and Katie's working. She does a lot of ads and stuff, so I'm constantly working. She's constantly working, and then it just took 7 years to, I was writing, and then I had to put it aside because I had to do this and I had to do that, and in the end, I ended up finishing it and showing it, and then she decided, yeah, she wanted to do it, and we did it, and it took us a year to shoot because again, nobody's getting paid. Again, we're working around each other. There'll be days when I've set something up for the weekend and I get a call from Katie saying she can't do it because she has to fly to Spain to do an advert. So I had to cancel it all. Um, and lucky she didn't cut her hair because, as I said,
Oh yeah.
continuity. Yeah. So, and she was really, I was really accommodating to everyone, because I'm not paying them. I have no right to tell people or have a go at people. If I was paying them, and they're under, yeah, I have every right, but I don't. And it
Mhm,
was done in that vein. But no, everybody that did it believed in the project. So, but that's how it started, basically through us griping, me and Katie griping over dinner. So
mhm.
I've known Katie for a very long time. So we'll get together and we'll gripe about the industry,
Uh-huh.
gripe about what's not happening with us and stuff like that. So it was just one of those days, really. I mean, and also I had to make something because I'm doing all this corporate work and I wanted to make something that I really wanted to shoot. I'm sure a lot of people in the comments, especially if they're filmmakers, they know how that feels. To do something that you really want to have fun doing and you're really passionate about. And Rebecca Gold was one of them. I was like, this is a good thing. Let's
Mhm.
shoot it.
Oh, for sure. Oh, just want to say, pause here for some of our new guests. And Rookie Critic is coming in. He's also a filmmaker.
Mm,
Says it sounds like a cool guest. There you go.
yeah.
So now, how exactly did you go about producing it? Did you have to crowdfund it, or how did you get the money for that?
No, no. I just put money aside. I'm working and I make money and I just put money aside. So basically, I couldn't even tell you what the budget was. It was very low. It was probably 4 grand to make the whole thing. And because I'm an expert, I don't say this lightly. I am a freaking expert at making low budget films. I can make a low budget film on 20 pence if I have to. But I knew every corner to cut when I was making Rebecca Gold. It looks like a TV show. That was my goal, to make it look like a TV show, to make sure the acting was good in it. And
Mhm,
I knew, because of experience, because of like over 20 years of experience shooting low budget stuff. I've done high budget movies. I directed a horror film that was Canadian UK. A horror film was the biggest thing I ever did. So I know about big budget films and I know about low budget films and I know about micro budget films. So when I was making Rebecca Gold, I knew what I could shoot to make it look good. I knew what I could do to make it look good. Do you know what I mean?
oh,
So
for sure.
yeah, so that's why it looks good, because I know every trick in the book when it comes to low budget shooting. Um,
Yeah. Well, and I like the way that when I saw it, I didn't feel like it was an independent film. And you even had the guns and the shooting, and I'm thinking, wait, this is in Britain. How are you able to pull that off?
Well, that's the thing. So we're clever about it. So basically, if you run out in the street with a gun, you'll get arrested because that's against the law. And also the fact that you're not really allowed to have replica guns um,
Yeah.
in England. You got to have an armorer on set, and we couldn't afford it, so
Yeah.
we just got Nerf guns, and you know what I mean. And because they're all black, you can't really see it's not a real gun. So and also we weren't in the public domain when people had guns. We weren't in the public domain at all. We were in a car park. It was controlled. We're in an apartment. We're in a car. Do you know what I mean? So if you look
Mhm.
closely, it's all controlled. You know?
Okay. Yes. So you were, yes, so didn't have any issues with that. Um,
No.
and all of them, they are real actors. I mean, you've said that about Katie. She's works in adverts, and the
Mm,
other ones are. do you get from the stage or from others in the
No,
industry?
no, everyone in the film I knew, I've worked with before.
Mhm.
I've like for instance, Keith, who plays Hamilton. I work. I did a feature film called Bad Day, and that was off our own back as well because we had money and we decided to make this other feature film, and we got screwed by the distributor, but that's another story. Um, so Keith, I know Keith, and he's an actor, stroke filmmaker, and life got tough on him, and now he's working, for some tech company, and he tries to act whenever he can. So I
Mm.
offered him the part, and I know that I wrote it for him. I wrote Rebecca for Katie. I wrote Jackie for Alison, who I've worked with before. So everyone in that film I've worked with before. So when you're in that position, you can write the parts for them. So that's why they don't come across as amateurish because
Mhm.
it's them. They're playing themselves. So and that's what I did. That's one of the filmmaking is common sense. That's all filmmaking is, right? And if there's anyone in the chat and anyone listening, believe you me, if you don't have common sense, you're not gonna achieve anything. So filmmaking is about common sense and about beating time when you're on the set, especially when you don't have any money.
Mhm.
I hope this helps people, especially when people are trying to do their thing, right? So
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, I don't know if you follow the Rookie Critic, but he's doing a lot of that too. He's makes movies straight out of his house,
yeah.
and is very clever, and he plays all the roles, and he's studying film. I went ahead and it's, meet each other, guys. I think you'd have a lot to talk about. And so we have the Rebecca Gold. Brought it up here on the shared screen. You can see very beautiful woman, very beautiful actress. And let's see, several episodes. Episode 1, episode 2, and Safe Zone. Oh, there's
Yeah.
us. An interview with Dennis.
There's us. Yeah.
We're talking about it right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, Agent 9, who has been downgraded from gold to gray, explains to her psychiatrist
Mm.
what inspired her last assignment and how encountering someone from her past during her assignment has not affected her mission. Yeah, so this was great. And so then there's part 2. Are there any more to come, or?
Um, we're gonna try. The script has already been written for season 2, and it's it just ups the ante, obviously, in what's happened in season 1. But Katie's very busy at the moment. She's
Mhm.
making a feature film towards the end of the year, and she's got other projects on, and it's really difficult to pin her down. So we might shoot next year, or if worst comes to worst, I'll have to recast her. Um,
Uh,
and I don't really want to do it, but if I have to, I have to, because for me, I'm at a certain age, and do you know what? I promised myself I will not let a year go by without not shooting anything. Do you know what I mean? Because everybody's getting older. Every
mhm,
second and every minute of the day, is wasted if you don't do anything with it. So I've decided, look, every year that goes by, I'm going to shoot something. So this year I'll have to shoot something. So
mhm.
I hope I don't have to recast it, but yeah, I mean, that's life, isn't it? Nothing
Mhm.
ever, you know, the best laid plans and all that.
Yeah. Well, and especially for her, if she is getting work in feature films,
Mm.
that's great. That's great for her
Yeah,
career.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and it's understandable. And I have seen some shows where there have been very fine recastings,
Mm,
especially with soap operas. When I used to watch soap operas,
yeah,
they used to recast all the time, and eventually you get used to them. You get used to them.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking, and on this on your channel here, I'm thinking, you've got behind the
Spy Girl.
scenes, yes, oh, Spy Girl.
Yeah.
Speaking of pretty ladies,
Well,
there we.
the reason why Spy Girls, that's a 6-minute short film. The reason why that was made was because we had there's a script called Spy Girls that we wrote, and we had an investor that was interested in it. So he said, "Shoot, can you shoot the first 5 minutes of the film?" So that's what we did. We shot the first 5 minutes of the film, and we got it all ready for him and stuff. And then he went AWOL. So
Oh no.
thanks very much, sir. Yeah, so now it's up on there. I just thought I'd put that up. Spy Girls. Yeah, that was shot with that was shot with more money than we had with Rebecca Gold. So it's very well shot. We shot an expensive apartment overlooking London. Yeah, look,
Yeah.
there's Ben who's in the Rebecca Gold. I think Keith is in the beginning of it.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I mean, that's a lot of fun too. I love my leading ladies. I love writing for women, and this is well before woke stuff happened. If you look at Bad Day, Bad Day was a celebration of because I have in Bad Day I have two TV stars. I have a person called Donna Eyre and Claire Goose. Claire Goose used to be in a big show in England called Waking the Dead. And she's very well known, and she didn't get paid a bean, and she read the script and she loved it. So Bad Day is about it's my homage to the cop movies of the 70s. So when I shot Bad Day, it was literally just copying the stuff in the 70s. Like, you have these traits in cop movies. You have the screaming black boss, which we had. You have the really cool car, which we had. You had the world weary cop, which we had, and you had the rookie. But it was very much putting the women in front with Bad Day. I was doing this well before woke stuff and all this crap, because I honestly believe that women were getting the crappy choices. They were either a mother or the girlfriend of the guy, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So when I decided to do Bad Day, I was like, well, let's just put the women in front and make them the stars this time round.
Mm-hmm.
And so I liked that so much that when it came to this one, I thought, let me do this one again. And then, as I said, if I didn't speak to Katie, Rebecca Gold would have never have happened. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, you definitely brought the pretty lady. See, if I'm looking at any other.
Well, Spy Girls is that basically it's about, spy girls. They're more than one. She's just one of them, basically. So, as I said, it was meant to. Spy Girls was written, I don't know, about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, maybe even 9. I don't know when this was shot, but the script was written a long time ago, and people were realizing that women have to be in the front in some films. They do make money sometimes, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when the guy went AWOL and we never heard from him again. So, still, that was fun shooting.
Sure,
Shooting it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess there's worse things to be ghosted on. And that's a fun one too. Now, I also want to talk about your upcoming trip to a film festival where you're going to be screening Rebecca Gold.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm going. It sounds great, doesn't it? But it's Oregon. That's where it's Oregon Film Festival. I'm going to, so just to see what it's like. So yeah, film festivals are fun to go to. But yeah, that's all these like behind the scenes stuff. Do you remember the scene in? Have you seen Rebecca Gold?
Have I personally seen it? Yes. Oh yeah. Yes, I've watched the.
Okay, right. So see this scene here.
Yeah.
These scenes here. That's all done in green screen.
Really?
Yeah. So the reason why we did it in green screen, because when we hired the car park, we could only afford 2 days. So we shot what we could in the car park, and then we had this long scene where they were talking in the car. We went to a garage and we put green screens up, and we shot them talking in the car. So that was, what I'm saying? It's a common sense that if you can't do this, let's figure out another way of doing this. And this is what we did. So we shot the background plates when we were in the car park, and we shot the stuff that was happening around the car park. But then when we were shooting inside the car, we just went to a garage, put some green screen up, and then we shot it, and then we put the background in. So as I'm saying, filmmaking is about common sense. If you don't have any money, find a way around it, and that's what we did. So
yeah, no, that's great. Well, and it also shows if you have a good. I had no idea if you have a good story.
Yeah,
you don't. You want to have good special effects, but you can forgive them. I always look back at the original Star Trek, which, from our perspective, are terrible, terrible special effects, and the original Doctor Who's. But you were into the story, so you forgave it.
Yeah, but I had to make sure that I was doing the green screen, because everybody knows that comping hearing is very difficult. So it took me ages to make to get that right so that you wouldn't notice that it was green screen. And that was the whole point of green screen. Because sometimes you see green screen and you know it's green screen.
Yeah.
But I was determined to make that look like they were there. And
Yeah.
I think I achieved it.
Yeah, and I should probably say I wasn't necessarily talking about you because, as I said, I didn't even know that that was green screen, and the fact that you were able to achieve that is great. I mean, I didn't know, and so you achieved it. It's great, but also I like
I think.
what turns out.
Sorry, you just.
You get into it. You get into the characters.
Yeah. Well, the whole of Rebecca was created in such a way that there were questions that wasn't answered. So I wasn't really sure how it was going to be received. So the way it was written was, we've got this mysterious character called Rebecca, and there are loads of questions. And at the end, you don't get any answers. You get some answers, but you don't get any. And that was the idea, to make people say, we want to see more. If people didn't want to see more, then, it would be a failure. But a lot of people are saying they want to see more. They want those questions to be answered. So, that's how it's constructed. It was constructed in a way to actually provoke a response from the viewers.
Yeah.
And we did that.
Yeah, and that's the best kind of story. Whenever I do reviews, I like to review comics when I have them. It's I always judge them by, am I turning the page?
Yeah.
Or books too. It's like, objectively, it might be a good book, but if I don't give a rat's rear end, then to me, it's just it's not worth it. But if it engages you, if it makes you want to know more, if it makes you want to, no, I don't want to put this down, I want to do one more chapter, then it's good.
Yeah.
And I love the cliffhanger. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but at the end of the first episode, there is a great cliffhanger. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, there are two versions there. There's one version we can, this is the unbridged version of Rebecca, where all the episodes are stuck together, and it's one short film. And then you've got a choice to watch it as episodes. So just play the playlist, and every episode would play. But I think a lot of people like watching it as the playlist, and you're left hanging and stuff like that. But if you go back to the menu, there's a video there, basically shows you, doesn't show you all of the effects, but if you, not behind the scenes, effects reel, if you click on that, this shows you the effects that was done in it. So like, you got rid of that, these are all very easy effects, like that green thing there, we got rid of that, and then you know what I mean? And then, so like, that was the prop, but it didn't look good. So this is what we did with it. So, do you know what I mean?
Gosh.
So things you don't think are effects, they are effects, basically.
Like even something on the, oh my
on
god,
the door, yeah. So yeah, these like the green screen, yeah. So we did that. So it doesn't look like green screen. We did this. So yeah. So there's, and then we did this.
I love this because you see, I haven't watched this yet, but now I like the way
you see this, right? If you go back to the men, if you scroll back a bit, go back, no, back even further. See that? Right. So we only had 4 people, right? We only had 4 people, so we had to multiply the people. So they had the same people on the left and the right.
Oh,
you have enough soldiers. So yeah. So
I love it.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. When you've got no money, you have to figure ways of how to do it. You have to figure ways how to make it look as good as it should be. So and that, like, if you look at the number plate carefully, it says Jedi bitch. So if you let yeah.
Oh wait.
So
let me see. So you say on the license plate it says that?
Yeah, it says Jedi bitch on the license plate.
Okay. And of course,
there's loads of Easter eggs.
Oh my
gosh! Yeah. So it's lots of Easter eggs in Rebecca Gold. We had a lot of fun sticking stuff in the background, and certain lines that certain lines that was in the show.
Yeah.
Just as I said, it's just it's just I could never have made this 20 years ago. It's only because of the amount of knowledge that I accumulated for the last 30 years that I could literally go in and know what I'm doing, especially with the green screen. I had to learn how to do green screen properly. So yeah, so it's all about knowledge at the end of the day. And if you're going to make your first film or web series or whatever, you have to get someone that can, if you don't have the experience, try and find someone with the experience so he can walk you through it.
Uh-huh. No, so speaking of which, okay, so you have this green screen. How did you fill that in with something that looked like a parking garage?
Okay, right. So when we were in the car park, right, we had the same car. So my DOP measured the car, so from the bottom of the floor to where Rebecca's eyes are. So he kept that measurement, and then we removed the car, and then we just shot the background plate. We just shot where the car was supposed to be,
Hmm.
and just shot the background, and then on the other side as well, and then in the front, and then you just comp it in because it's the same car, it's the same height.
Hmm.
Um, I had to add that light in there because the green screen wasn't working with the hair, so I had to add the light in. And also,
Oh.
once you get it also you have to imitate the lens as well. So you got a clear background plate, which is that car, and it's all in focus. So in After Effects, you make it a slightly out of focus, so that you think that it's really there. And those are the things. Yeah, those are
Wow.
so it's you learn this as you go along. Because if we were shooting that really in the car, that's what would happen. The background would be blurred, and you'd focus on Rebecca, you'd focus on Katie, so the background would be blurred.
Yeah.
And that's obviously how you have to imitate it. So it would look like you're actually there. And also the way she was lit as well. She's got like a light on her face, the side of her face. So I had to create that light to
Mm.
imitate the light on her face.
Wow.
So,
The detail that you had to put into this.
well, it's a passion project, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it was, that's why so many effects on TV are crap, because people are not passionate about what they do. It's just a job for them. But when it's not
Yeah.
a job for you and you're doing it, then yeah, you try and do it the best you can. So
This just brings me to what I said before, is that I had no idea that these were
yeah,
special effects. And this is why, because you put so much care into it just so that I wouldn't for something I wouldn't even notice. Isn't
yeah,
that amazing? That's just great. But
yeah. We
that's
used.
good filmmaking.
Sorry, say again.
Oh, that's good filmmaking then, because
Yeah,
I
well,
shouldn't sit around and think about these little details because I should be into the story, so I was. But it's so fascinating to hear what you had to do to make it so that I wouldn't notice. Like all this hard work so that I wouldn't notice, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if you can't see the effect, then we've done our job.
Exactly.
And that's. I mean, it's obvious the snow when it's snowing, that bit.
Yeah.
It's obvious that's an effect. So I mean, but that's the best we could do with the very little money that we had.
Sure.
But I think it looks okay. Could be so much better, but we don't really have the tools to do it like a movie.
Yeah.
But we did our best. And that day when we were shooting that scene, it was the hottest day in England, the hottest day of the year. So the scene that you see in the kitchen with Jeannie and the kids and stuff like that, those two kids are my nieces. So yeah, they were dressed in coats and stuff. They were sweating like
Oh
pigs,
no.
basically. Yeah, so yeah, a little Katie was sweating as well. So
Okay, and then we see this one here. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I bet they were like, "Uncle, why are you doing this to us?"
yeah. Well, they loved it. They loved it. Those
Yeah, because
those
they were in the
two.
film, right?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
and
and here's this. See again, this is something else that I would never have known was a special effect.
yeah.
The
So the dot on his head is a marker. So when you do
Yeah,
the effect where he gets a bullet hole in his head, he has to
yeah,
follow something. So
yeah,
on After Effects, so the yellow marker, it'll follow that. So when you put the hole in his head, it has to. So it'll just follow that yellow marker.
yeah. And trying to get it. There we go. It's kind of paused. There we are. Look
Yeah,
at that yellow
yeah.
marker.
And one on his tie, I think there was one on his tie. So you get the green thing at the bottom. So he gets shot in the chest, then he gets shot in the head.
Uh-huh.
Um, but that's my friend Tony. He came in at the last moment to do it, and he was
Yeah.
really good actually. He was better than I thought he was going to be. So yeah,
Looks like he's really into it there. Yeah, look
yeah,
at
yeah.
that.
Tony's a good chap. He's a really good chap. But yeah, I didn't think he came. Came with his own suit and his red tie, and I was like, "Wow, you really look like a villain here, mate." So yeah, he's really good. But yeah, it's just and also doing that whole sequence where when she's been held by Tony, she was wearing they strapped her to Tony. So when you see that scene and Tony's got his arm around her throat just with one hand, it's because she had something on and she was connected to Tony. So that's
Oh,
why it looked so vicious. Yeah. So
wow. Is
um,
that on one of the reels here? Let me see. I
yeah,
may
it's
have
on one
to.
of the reels. It's on behind the scenes stuff. It's on one behind the
Oh,
scenes stuff.
okay.
So yeah, it's not on this one.
Nice.
This one's all about effects. This one's all about
Gotcha.
effects. So, but
Yeah, I can
yeah,
see how the bobbies would come in. It's like, what are y'all doing?
yeah. But we were at underground car park, and the guy that was in charge of it, he was like, yeah, you can shoot here if you want. We can do this, you can do that. So we were like, we took advantage of it.
Yeah.
It's just the little things as well that your mind registers. Like when she's shooting, we made a mistake on this bit here where Rebecca's shooting the bullets that are coming out. It's coming out the wrong end.
Oh,
So yeah, so if you go back to where she's shooting them, so the gun I think it's on the right hand. The bullet should come out on the left, but it's not. They're both coming out at the sides of the gun.
oh.
So yeah, so it shouldn't. It should, yeah, but
Well, it
yeah.
happened so fast. I think we didn't
Yeah, yeah,
notice.
yeah. Artistic license.
Yeah, there
She's
you
got
go.
special guns.
Very special guns. They're British
Yeah,
guns.
yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, oh, Second Street Marvel. Yeah, this is called Rebecca Gold. Let me go ahead once again and put the link in the chat here from uh, independent filmmaker and the Mega Geek. It, it
Mm,
it's loads of fun. So when you do the festival
mm,
that you're going to
yeah,
in Oregon, are you going to have a showing of it and then a
yeah.
panel?
They're gonna screen it. They're gonna screen it, and it's up for an award. I don't know whether I'm going to win, but they're going to definitely screen it. So, which is
Sweet.
good. I mean, I've seen it with an audience before, and they do really get into it, which
Oh,
is quite good. So, it'd be nice to see, because I went to the New Jersey. I didn't get Best Director, but Katie got Best Actress, and
nice.
she wasn't there. I had to collect it for her. So Katie's won about 6 awards, I think, for Rebecca Gold.
Nice.
So yeah, so and also we've been selected to loads of festivals, and we've won must be more than 9 awards,
Yeah.
best web series. So it's done really well. It's just I wish money came with it,
Oh, for
you
sure.
know.
Well, and she's
So
beautiful. I mean, look at that. I could see how she, you know,
and
and
also
it's her potential.
yeah, the costume as well. So we wanted to make her look. We wanted to try and make her look iconic.
Mm.
So the idea. So somebody said, "How are we going to make it iconic?" And I said, "Well, let's just nick stuff from movies that we love." So the red hoodie is from E.T.
Oh my gosh.
and the black jacket's from Terminator 2. The jeans is from everybody wears jeans, and the trainers is from Doctor Who, David
Oh
Tennant's
my
Doctor
gosh.
Who. So that's what we decided to go with. And I think the gloves are from it might be from Tomb Raider. So and we decided to, and she looked good in it. So I think the costume person wanted her to be in a crop top. So and Katie
Uh,
didn't mind. So yeah, so that's one thing that wasn't part of the movie, but that was the idea because
yeah.
it's so because she's such a geek. Rebecca is a geek in the movie, but
Yeah.
Katie's not a geek. She never understood any of the geeky stuff we stuck in there at all. We had to try and explain stuff to her. So, but it's yeah, she's good. She's good. Love Katie. She's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, no, that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's lots of fun. Well, we're kind of past the hour thing. So,
Okay.
and I know it's getting late over there. Check out Rebecca Gold, everyone, and um, follow. Mega Geek Ian on Twitter. I think I had it on before. Um, but where else can we find it? Like, can we find some of your other movies? I put the link in for Rebecca Gold. Is there a place where we
Um,
can find the other ones?
well, Bad Day, yes. It's on Vimeo. Um, but I need to give you the link. I'll put a link up on my Twitter account. And
Mhm.
Fallen Angels, that wasn't my film. I was just hired as a hired gun for that one. So that film doesn't belong to me. So that's a horror film starring Jeff Fahey and Michael Ironside. That I made that a very long time ago. And
Mhm.
that's another story as well. Killing Zone's not out, and you can buy Killing Zone on Amazon.
Oh,
It's still out there, but I'm not making any money on it. I don't know why, but there you go. But Killing Zone's out there, and I'll probably stick that up on Vimeo too one day when I get around to it because I'm working my ass off. But I do plan to do season 2 of Rebecca Gold um, with Katie or without Katie.
mhm.
So kind of watch this space really.
For sure, yeah. Well, that's great. So everyone, please, I put your Ian's Twitter on there and the Rebecca Gold. So go ahead and find him and follow him. And this is really exciting. I really enjoyed your talk, all the insight that you gave us.
No problem.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for your time.
That's all right. I enjoy stuff like this, so I don't mind showing off from time to time. I don't mind. It's good. Well,
Yes.
but the thing is, though, with today's society, you've got to be active on social media. I hate social media personally, but you've got to be active on it, haven't you? So
Yeah. Well, that's how
yeah,
you get your stuff out there.
yeah, I
Yeah.
guess, yeah,
Well, look
yeah.
how beautiful this is. So check it out, Rebecca Gold. Thank you for everyone that popped in. Yeah, I'm glad you're doing it with or without her. You weren't sure last time I heard you speak about it. Oh, I see. That's what Juan's saying about
Mm.
Katie. Yeah. And sometimes you just have to do what you have to do.
Yeah, yeah. Me and Kate are really great friends, and she was saying to me, this is, this is not going to spoil our friendship, even if I don't do it. And I said, yeah, I agree. It's not worth destroying our friendship over something like this.
Mhm.
So I mean, she might do it. You never know. It depends on her schedule. But she's getting a lot of work at the moment, so I can't begrudge her that. I wish her all the best. So there
Yeah,
you
for
go.
sure. I mean, but it's like I said, looking at her, she's star material. She's beautiful, and
Mm.
I mean, look
Yeah.
at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, and that's great that
Social
she's
media
the
is going
kind
to
of
sell
chick
you.
that guys wanna see in a film.
But that was the point, isn't it? The woke stuff doesn't work. People want to see. I'm sure girls want to see good-looking men, and
Yeah,
women, and men want to see good-looking girls. I mean, not all the time, but it does help sell the product. So
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. No, so that's great. Okay, well, as I said, once again, thank you to everyone, and like I said, this is what we call an independent film, but the special effects, the everything, this is top quality production, and the story will reel you in. It has for me. And I'm real excited about you getting to show the screen. Now, are you going to share all this stuff? Are you going to let us all see everything about your trip to the film festival?
yeah, I will. I'll do my best. I'm not very good at social media stuff though, but it's just the fact of getting a phone out and looking dumb, talking to your phone. I've seen other people do it, and I'm like, ah, you know.
Yeah.
But I'll put some pictures up. I'm on Instagram as well. Mega Geeky and Diaz. Um, and I'll try and do that, and I'll stay in contact with you. And
Mhm.
if I put anything up on the Rebecca Gold channel, I'll let you know. And then yeah.
Okay, well, that's great. Well, best of luck
Thank you
in your
very
big
much.
trip across the ocean over to Oregon. And thank you for everyone popping in. And have a great day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.